Button. Boom. Right out. And right, let me make sure. Yep, I got it right. Speaker view. So we'll be rocking. All right. So today, and I want to pin a guest real quick. Boom. We got a good friend of mine, Karyn Gyles in the building. What's up, KG? How are you?
What's up, guys? Great.
Living the dream. I see you. Okay. And one thing I want to first, before we get into this, that I've just seen since I've been able to see you work, right? You've been in the industry, and I've been in the industry 14 years. I think you've been in the years at least 10. How many years you been in the
Yeah,
industry?
a little over 10 years.
A little over 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't known you the whole time. Okay. I haven't seen the start. You know what I mean? I actually seen I seen the glow. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shoot, like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know I know through our conversations of the come up, but I didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But through the come up, wherever you were, wherever you started, there's going to be, I guess you want to say, trials, tribulations, ups, downs, things that you got to work through, right? With anything in order to keep this thing rocking. All right. Because I got no doubt that folks can go out there and sell. And you proved to yourself at a previous company and for years that you could sell insurance, right? But it was like, okay, what's the vehicle? But also, who am I surrounding myself with that's going to allow me to hit those goals? You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Hmm.
one thing, you've just taken the lid off of your life. All right. And I think that's just applaud to you and what you're doing financially for your family. You know what I mean? Just that look. All right. Does that mean like that feel of control? All right. And I think when, maybe at the beginning of this, when you got into the industry, you're seeking control, whatever that means, right? Control. And I think you got it. I know you have it. And I know you're looking to help other people get it. So thank you for taking the time to help us get control of our lives. Because in commission based sales, I think that's what we say, freedom. And, I want to be able to make as much money. Well, all of that is when we take control. But it's hard to take
Hmm.
control when things are out of control. Fair to say?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? So here we are talking about shit. Okay, well, be in control. Like, dude, my life's in shambles right now, bro. Like, do you know I'm behind on this? I got this. I freaking spent my last bit of money on leads over here. But you want me to be smiling, dialing. I mean, so this is probably the realest group that you could be speaking to. Okay. And
Yeah.
I want you to I have some questions, right? I have some questions, but I want you to give us the, 1, 2, 3 minute, who are you? You know what I mean? Where you come from? How'd you get here? And I do have some things I want to shoot at you. And you guys, if you guys don't know who KG is, or if you do know, you guys, man, put some questions here in the chat. We'll try to get to them, but I don't want to disregard anybody's what's happening right now, but I want to give her the floor. And I think whatever questions you had coming into this, whether they weren't directed at her, I think we can find a way to get that answer for you. All right. So
Yeah.
KG, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and thanks again for being with us.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and allowing me to speak to all of you amazing people here. Um, so you guys get to see the now me, and even though I'm still like working and building myself, because you're always a work in progress. In the beginning, it was not like this at all. Now, prior to insurance, um, I didn't have a son. I was a bartender. I worked 5 jobs. I thought working hard equals success. I went to college. I did all that stuff. I knew that I couldn't work for corporate America. It was just really boring to me. I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I knew I wanted to do something great. I just did not know which vehicle I was going to use to get to where I was trying to go. I was referred to the practice company that I was at for 6 years, 4 different times. And I didn't show up the first three. So what does that mean? You're probably talking to somebody about this opportunity. They're not saying yes, right? So it's not no, it's just no, not right now. Keep planting those seeds, right? You never know who's going to wake up and do something. Well, for me, it was just a timing issue, right? I was just tired of the hustling and bartending and no one wanted to promote me because I was so good at what I did behind the bar. I brought the money. They didn't want to take me away from that, right? So I knew I had to change course and change the direction. I went into insurance, and even though I had success very quickly in the last company, I was never taught sales. I just knew I was just being coachable. They told me to bring in people. I did. I left 400 names and numbers. I was bringing people in, and then it got to a point where I had so many people coming in, I had to go full time. And so I went from letting go 3 jobs, keeping 2, working part time, and then went full time and still wasn't even licensed yet. It took me 3 months to get licensed. I took my license course 7 times. And 3 of the times that I failed it, I got the same score. So like I was bawling to my mother over the phone. Like, if I thought I was like, I'm not stupid. I went to college, right? It was just the hardest thing. And I was like, why does it have to be so hard for me? But anyway, I stopped questioning myself. I'm just like, you got to get it done. If this is something you really want, you got to go for it. I had no idea what I was getting into. But anyway, I drank the Kool-Aid for way too long. And I went through a bunch of crap in the practice company. So it does matter where you sell insurance, and you guys are in the best place ever. We had no leads. I was in the field. I had a baby in business. I was broke. I went through 3 cars. I was taking my baby to appointments. Like, that's how raw it was in the last company. So the cool part is you don't get to see that her. But I was like in grind mode because I was like, nothing is going to stop me. But thank goodness, I got through it. I ran my entire business, my entire pregnancy. I just kept my head down and kept going. And any adversity and challenge that came my way, which it still does, it just gets easier to go through when you learn how to get through them, when you keep your mind pure and you keep going, because then you start to find out ways to move forward. So anyway, practice company, went through a bunch of crap. Then insurance kind of left my heart for a minute. I went back to bartending. So as you can, hear me say, like in my mind, what I was thinking at that time was like, I spent 6 years of giving it my all to end up right back where I was before when I started. What the heck am I doing? Right? I could not see past that. Right. And I was distraught. I was upset. I really didn't want to go back to bartending. I felt like a failure. Right. But I had to pay bills. They were about to take my car. I had a baby to take care of. I was living at my mama's house, and I needed to do something. Well, Kali, you guys know her. She ended up reaching out to me, and just checking up on me. The crazy part about it is when she checked up on me, she was like, "Girl, did you really go back to bartending?" I was like, "Yes, I did. What else was I gonna do?" She was like, "You should check out what we're doing." I still wasn't processing this company, right? Only because the last company taught us that uh, whole life was bad. All we sold was term. And I couldn't believe she was selling whole life, but I had no idea about it, right? I had no knowledge of anything else other than where I was. So then COVID happened, right? After 2 months of bartending. So I walk in the house, the news comes on. They're like, yeah, all the bars are shutting down. The world's shutting down. And I was like, this is crazy. This is like a movie. Like, this really can't be happening to me. On top of losing the company that I wanted to excel in so bad, from having everything taken from me, including the job I just got. I was like, what am I gonna do? Anyway, had another conversation with Kali. I ended up making Panera Bread my office. I had no money to my name. She had to buy me coffee that day. I think I had like $1 and some change. And at that time, you could go to the Shell gas station, overdraft your card, and then pay that money back before they gave you the overdraft fee, right? So I just knew I was going to win. So I'm like, okay, overdraft my card. I ran out and went to the on the other side of the world to see her. At that time, if y'all don't know her story, she was in the blue room. She was struggling herself. She was just kind of picking up traction here. But we had worked together in the past company, so we both were go-getters. We both had, were company trips, accolades. We both knew what we were capable of. So there was no question about that. And so as soon as I came over here, it was just like, it was a rough start. It took me over a month to get contracted. So I did not make money right away. I was not coachable for a very short period of time in the beginning because I felt like I worked insurance for 6 years. I think I know how to do this. Well, going from selling one product to all these products and just all these different companies, it was a little overwhelming. But I don't, for me, I'm not one of those people that has to learn everything. Just tell me what to do. And as long as you're there to answer my call, I can figure it out. The problem was I wasn't calling in the home, right? I was just thinking that, every time they say, hey, just come back and see me, that eventually we're going to buy. Well, I wasn't making any money. Kali and I would get into it, right? And so I knew that I had to submit to the system. And if you're a leader, leaders make adjustments quickly. And if I wanted to make money, I had to make adjustments quickly. I had to follow the system. So when I decided to do this business for real, right? When I really started, because when I wasn't coachable, I wasn't a part of the system. So when I really started doing this business, the first month I made 5 grand. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just calling from the home and getting help from my trainer. The second month I made 8 grand. I still didn't know what I was doing. I was just being coachable, smiling and dialing and going to see clients face to face. And then the third month, something clicked, right? And that's typically when that happens, right? After 60 to 90 days. The third month, I made 16 grand. And I was still riding the fence on the other company because I wasn't sure, right? Well, I submitted my letter of resignation to end my contract with the last company. And I was like, 16 grand. I've never, ever seen that much money in my account. And you mean to tell me I had the opportunity to make more? And I still didn't know what I was doing. I had an idea, but I wasn't all the way there yet. So, and keep in mind, I was running 4 to 5 year old leads, right? I was broke. Mike File gave me, I felt like amazing. He was like, come to my office. I came to his office. He gives me a pile of leads that are 4 to 5 years old that were murdered by other agents. They had been called to the max. So these bronze leads that you guys might, call and buy, my leads were way worse than that. They were 10 times worse. I did 181,000 my first 6 months, and I've been on the staircase ever since. This last convention, I walked across stage doing over 316,000 as a single mom. So I say that to say, how did I get through that? It was hard. It's not easy, right? From, my family, I would walk in the house late at night after a full day. They're like, why are you even doing this? Why don't you just go get a job? Why don't you I had to get those people out of my system. I had to not answer the calls when they called me during the day asking me to do things for them or, wanting me to take them places. And I'm like, no, I'm working, right? So I had to show them that I was serious, but I also had to keep my mind clear and stay close to the fire. What does that mean? That means staying plugged into the system, being on calls like this, staying close to my mentor, my trainer, constantly calling when I'm in the homes or if I need help. You cannot do this business on your own. I didn't want to do this business on my own. And I'm still learning today. Like you're never going to know everything. And the industry is constantly changing and you have to move with it. So the person you see today, again, I'm still learning, growing, and getting better. And it's even times I've reached out to Dom and I'm just like, hey, what do you think about this? What should I do in this situation? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Right? Never take it down, always take it up. And so, everyone is here to help you. I'm just a person that decided to make a decision, decided to run through adversity. The times that got really, really hard, I really, really put my foot on the gas harder than ever before. And the two most important things in this business is dialing and helping a client and getting on the phone with a client and doing an appointment. That's all I focus on. That's all I still focus on till this day. So I'm just a person who's overcome so many challenges. And now when challenges come my way, I'm like, boom, knew you was coming, right? I just was waiting on you, right? Now it's time to run through it. And so that's where I'm at today. But that's my mini story.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. And like I said, it's a privilege to be in business with you. I have a question for you. That's a personal question.
Yeah.
Just as a leader and as an agent, because I feel like I kind of went through this as well. I started, but now I'm seeing more and more agents see success. All right. More agents. Okay, and let me give you an example, KG. Our percentage, let's just say if we hire 10 folks, we'll probably get one or two to learn how to be proficient or proficient into selling a policy. Okay. And that's very normal in the industry, by the way, too. Like that's like
Mhm.
industry norm is like just throw people against the wall and see what sticks. Okay. Well, we've kind of refined our onboarding process, slowed things down, heavy on the training. John Wetmore says, you probably heard him say this, slow down to speed up. Okay. So we slowed down about a week in our onboarding process. What used to take a day to get people contracted now takes a week before we decide if they can get contracted. Okay. Or they decide because they just have things to do when they get to it. What that's led to is about an 80% success rate. Okay. Um, Now, when we're focusing on that 80%, right? Folks onboarding, getting through, getting paid, that belief, that plugging into trainings like this. You said here you had to follow the system, right? I think we're very good at folks following the system early on, but I think
Mhm.
pieces of the system kind of fall off as folks hit weeks 3, 4, 5, 6 of after deposit. Make sense? With no
Mhm.
deposit, I'm scratching and scraping trying to figure this thing out. Okay. Deposits start rolling in. How do we keep that? How do we stay plugged in and why stay plugged in? That's my question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as staying plugged in, well, first of all, you got to remember when you're getting compensated from the carriers, that's not your money until they've paid out the full commission, until they've kept that policy for the full 9 months, right? And if you know that 30% of your business is going to charge back, unless you have enough leaders in place, enough, people in place that are working where you can slightly take your foot off the gas to spend more time building, you have to be in grind mode all the time. This is a business is numbers and systems, right? And while you might be following the system, you can't miss the other biggest piece, which is the numbers, right? And so you have to, number one, you have to have leads coming in each and every week. You have to have a non-negotiable schedule, right? And anytime you get away from those things, your business can tank very quickly backwards. You can have a good week or shoot, even a good month and turn around. And if you stop doing those important things, your next month can look like, ugh, bills don't get paid, you're struggling, and so forth, right? I think one of the ways that I stay excited is number one, I don't spend all the money that I have. I'm always paying myself first. Because at the end of the day, this is a business and you have to set yourself up financially. And so for me, that's how I stay excited. I stay motivated because I'm scared to lose. I'm scared to wake up one day and go back to where I was. I'm scared to wake up and not be able to feed, pay a bill, or if my son is hungry, I'm not able to go to the grocery store. That scares me, right? Um, and I play scared. Like you got to revisit your why. I know why I came here. I came here to do something big. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, right? But the only way I'm able to stay motivated is by sticking to the system. I know the moment I fall off, or if I don't show up for myself, right? Because we're not working for anybody else, right? There's no boss telling us, hey, you got to go to work. If I don't show up for me every day, my family doesn't eat, bills don't get paid, right? And I step farther away from my goals if I don't do what I'm supposed to do here. So I think that's you might have to revisit your why
Mm.
if you stop doing the things that got you paid the first time. And here's the cool part about it though. The moment you make a decision, every day you get to decide. Every day is a new day. Every week is a new week. Every month is a new month. So if you feel like you're lacking, if you feel like you step back a little bit, if you feel like, I got off the ball, you can always get back on and things can change very quickly when you have a license. But don't wait so long that the hole that you're in gets so deep that you can't climb out of it.
Thank
If
you.
that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can ask questions for days. Okay. Let me ask, does anybody have any questions? I do have one, but anybody have any questions for KG? It could be anything, sales related. She crushes it. It pertains to objections and just how to think people struggle a lot with getting presentations, AG. Um, Being in control on the phone, not realizing that people aren't too as busy as they say they are, you know. Um, I think that's
Well,
a big.
I got a question. So like I think most new agents start off with age leads, and it sounds like that's how you got your business started as well. So like what's your advice, or how do you communicate with your agents or anybody that's starting off on age leads, and how to approach them, and not how to, the mindset to have to work them to not get like frustrated, like, oh, they're old, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think well first I'm calling those leads so that they can I'm still calling those leads so they hear how it's done. And that they know that even if you bought the newest vet lead all the way to the oldest age lead, you still got to work the lead the same. You're still going to get the same objections. You're still going to have to put the grind in on an old lead than you would on a new lead, right? And the only difference is that you buy whatever position you're in, if you're going to buy high intent leads or if you're going to buy age leads, number one, they all work. But number two, buy the leads that fit your budget, right? So if you don't have $1,000 to drop every week, no problem. Buy the age leads because the name of the game is how many clients you can get on the phone. So you might be in a position where you can only spend $250, right, for your first lead batch. So you can get access to as many people as you can so you can get a client. It might take you a little bit longer, but you will close the deal if you work the system. Or if you have $1,000 a week, you can start dropping $1,000 a week. You get about 20 to 30 leads and so forth, and you can get to a client a lot quicker, right? But I think Sean Mike said it best when I plugged into his call. He was saying if you knew that everything that you want, and I'm probably not saying it the right way, but if you knew that everything you want, out of this business, the income that you want was finding $1,000 to start your lead flow, would you be able to find it? Like if you can think of something right now, and I know for me, it took me back to the part where within a year, I had surgery, the world shut down, my son was at home doing homeschool. We both got COVID like 4 times. My car died the moment I healed and could go back in the field. My car died in the field. I had to learn telesales. So I wasn't making as much money because I was in the learning process and I was trying to figure out how I was going to buy a car. And I manifested the car that I have now, which is not the one that I really, really want. It was just, I need to get a car right now, but I want to get something that I like.
Yeah.
And I looked around for it, I found it, and I shopped and I was like, I really, 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 really want this car. And I feel like if you really, really want something and your belief level is high and you keep it in front of you, eventually you'll get it. I can remember when I was driving, my car had died early on in the insurance business in a practice company. I was pregnant and I was running opportunity meetings in Baltimore and in Prince George's County, which is an hour difference away twice a week, all the way up until I was 9 months pregnant. And my car stopped working. My grandmother gave me her car. It had over 250,000 miles on it. It was a Ford Escort. The seatbelts didn't work. The AC did not work. Okay. So you could kind of tell how that life was going. But what I did was I wrote 20,000 on the window of the top of the car. I know people probably walking past my car like, is she selling the car for 20,000? No, no, no. I was literally trying to go for 20,000 in production as a team. And it got to a point where I was driving that car. I drove it until it died. I actually have I'll send you the picture, Don. I drove it until it died in 2016. But I kept it up there and I drove it so much that 20,000 just disappeared. I like stopped seeing it. But then I look at today and I'm like, dang, I'm already at issue paid 27,000. Like so now it wasn't the team numbers. Like I'm actually making that issue paid above that personally. Last month over 37,000. Like this is insane what manifestation can do. It may not happen when you want it, but it will happen when it's supposed to. If you're in position, you stay close to the fire and you keep doing all the right things. And not at certain times it just didn't a lot of times that things have happened for me, I could not see it. You're not supposed to, right? but you have to see it before you can seize it. And I had a mental picture. I knew exactly what I wanted. And so anything that you're going through, any challenge in this business, and they're never going to end, right? New levels, new devils, right? But if you never meet the devil, you've never lived. Check devil backwards. It spells lived. You have every story has an antagonist and a protagonist. What is your antagonist in your story? And how are you going to overcome that and be a victory in your story? Everybody's story is different. Everybody's race is different. But what are the things that are holding you back? What are the things that are in your life that you want to get rid of and overcome? And beat success with a like beat it like crazy so you can overcome it and get to it quicker. But I probably went off topic, but I'm just excited and passionate because I know where I came from and I don't ever forget.
I think perspective is everything. You know, that whole don't forget where you came from. Talking about having this business is I've never seen anything this good, you know, and I've been blessed that this has been the only thing I've known um, since I was able to, be in this. Like my practice company was still kind of similar, comp stuff, but it wasn't the same as yours. Makes sense?
It was horrible.
But working leads, that appreciation for leads, that's something that I never knew the other side of it is where I'm trying to get to. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But that appreciation you have for folks who fill out requests, because
Yeah.
your belief in insurance, you already had it. Okay. But to have people knocking on the door, why don't you? And I think that's a big reason why you don't have an opinion on leads. That's why you will spend $1,000, $2,000 a week in leads and have new leads, old leads. It don't matter. Like it just give me the lead. You
I was
know?
praying for somebody to talk to in the last company. We didn't have leads. I had to create them. I was getting a list of 50 to 100 names per person coming in. And when the people would quit, all the work that I did to get those referrals, I would pretend like, oh, yeah, no, they told me to just go ahead and show up anyway. Like I had to figure it out. So I can appreciate even a lead that costs $1 because I was praying for someone to talk to in the last company. So yeah, and then I think about your story, Dom, and a lot of the other leaders and what they've gone through, and I'm like, what's the worst that it can get? What's the worst that it can be? And I look at your story, and I'm like, I never had cancer. I never was in a position where I lost my license or I didn't have a license and needed to get it back, and what the heck I was gonna do. You know what I mean? Like everybody has different circumstances, but I heard your story and how you got through it, and when we talked about it, and I was like, "Dang, that's a bigger story than mine." Right? I'm grateful, like I'm so grateful, but I'm excited. But what we are is we are people who just decided not to give up. We're not anybody special. We just made a decision not to give up and to keep going. And that also keeps you going. That keeps you motivated too. Other people's stories, because somewhere somebody's going through something worse than you. I always tell my son, he's 9, and I'm like, you don't know how good you have it. I show him kids that are back home where I'm from in Jamaica. I mean, one of the worst parts of Jamaica in Kingston. Look at our family in Kingston and look where you are. Totally different. Totally different. Look at other countries. Look at Gaza. They're being bombed. There's children without their parents. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy things going on in the world that are worse than what we have to go through, and all we have to do is take a no. I'll sign me up. Sign me up.
Take a no. Taking a no. Let's get into some and if anybody has any questions, chime in or put them in the chat. Well, here's one. Richard L right here. Best way, and this is good. Best way to keep somebody on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
They and Rich, if you want to go into it a little bit more past the very beginning of the pickup, I don't know what it really means by that, but if I'm asking it, how do you have what's the right mindset to have on a one call close? I'm coming into a one call close. When I hear that best way to keep people on the phone, Makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. It's just like, okay, well, my mentality of what a one call close needs to be, you know what I mean? What is that? Because that's what I had to go through. Because I missed a lot of first opportunities when I first started telesales. Just like when
Yeah.
you said, I was trying to figure out telesales. That's the figuring out telesales. Would you be fair to say?
Yeah.
Like the figuring out telesales is how do I keep people on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And present to them the first time, and so I can go from closing. You know, it's a big percentage. So let's speak to that, all right? And some
Yeah.
word tracks or whatever that mentality is on that one call close as well.
Absolutely. So keeping a client on the phone, I think first you have to learn to ask questions and stay in the question zone. The person who asks, and this is sales, the person who asks the most questions wins each and every time. But I want you to remember too that everybody's not supposed to be your client. So when you're asking the right questions, they're either going to hang up on you because buyers are liars and they don't, you know what I mean? They don't like to get hung up on their own lie that they're saying to you. But if they're really serious about it, once you're asking those direct questions, number one, you're going to keep them on the phone. And then two, find out very, very quickly with the questions that you're asking, why they filled this out. Who were you trying to protect? If you weren't here today or tomorrow, what does that look like when they don't have this plan? I'm asking emotional questions because life insurance is an emotional buy, right? So keeping them on the phone, asking more questions. Everything is a question. The moment you give a statement, it's done. And I learned that by being on these calls, listening to Dom, listening to Jamie, listening to a lot of the top producers. I'm like, oh, they're asking, I like that question. Let me write it down, right? Knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. So not only did I take that information and write it down, I went over it, I reviewed it, and I used it. And this is a copycat business. So you can use everything that you get, everything I'm talking about today. But to keep a client on the phone, definitely ask emotional questions, direct questions, follow the script, but and get that yes momentum to that one call close. If they're saying yes throughout the entire presentation, you got it, right? You're going to close them. If you find out why they filled this out for little Johnny, they don't want little Johnny to suffer financially, right? I think Jamie just did a call recently. Hey, have you ever lost a loved one? What was that like when they weren't here? Did they have insurance? Have you ever had a loved one pass away with no insurance? Right? And then play that why throughout and their responses throughout the entire appointment. So if you get to the part where like, yeah, I don't want to give the social. I completely understand. I don't give out my social either, but this is important. This is life insurance. And once we get you pre-approved, God forbid anything happens to you, that social security number has to match the death certificate. Now, would you want this check to go to little Johnny, right? Or would you want it to go to some random person? They're like, definitely little Johnny. Perfect. What's your social? Hey, what changed? This is why I provided my personal information up front. You said you didn't have any questions. Did anything change along the way? Was it something I said? No. Okay, are we able to jump on a Zoom? Are we able to FaceTime? What I can send you my ID. I even make it fun. Like I got a passport, birth certificate. What all can I send you so we can make sure Johnny has enough money when you're not here? Emotional questions. I keep their beneficiary. I say their beneficiary all throughout the appointment. I'm asking questions, I'm sticking to the script. And listen, the only way you build confidence and get better is if you keep doing it. I sucked at telesales in the beginning. I would book appointments 20 every day and nobody would show. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? It wasn't until I spoke to a leader on Live Dials and was like, you're not doing a one call close. I was like, what's a one call close? I had no idea what a one call close is. So you don't know what you don't know. That's why it's important to stay plugged in. It's like a phone. You would never go a day without your phone being unplugged. Why would you go unplugged in your own business? You never know what you're missing. You don't know what meeting you could miss, and you don't know which meeting needs you. I don't need it anymore. Okay. Awesome. Is that because you already purchased it? Or is it because you haven't been able to qualify because of your health? What changed? And then, hey, not a problem. Our job is to make sure you have the updated 2025 plans. to make sure you're paying the lowest rate. Listen, if they don't have insurance but from you, they don't have the right insurance. That's how I look at it. If they didn't buy insurance from you, they don't have the right type. Sorry, I was answering a question in the chat. But it's just a conversation. And what I like to do is anytime
Oh, my bad.
somebody, it's okay. Anytime somebody is like, because I know you guys have gotten some people like this on the phone where they're just like, oh, nope, 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 I'm good. Everything is just short. I like to take a step back and slow my words down and like kind of get in like that mom voice, like, hey, 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 Dom, no problem. I'm on your side. I'm just reaching out to you because it looks here in my system. They flagged it that you're not paying the lowest rate. I want to make sure we resolve this and you have the best plan in place. It just takes 5 minutes. Can we just make sure you got the right plan? They're like, you know what? Yeah, you just caught me at a bad time. No problem. You're not obligated to do anything. My job is just to make sure you were set up correctly. That's all. I don't know. I
Love
get
it.
creative when you got to make money.
Let's go.
Le
Let's rapid fire some of these because
legally,
I want like because
legally.
this is the stuff. This is how I learned how to sell insurance. How I learned how to sell insurance was I heard people say things, right? And then I would replay them. Then I would listen to them. Okay. I want this to be one of the most replayed, okay, videos that we got because these are so common. These are common ass things. And we do have sheets and stuff that show you how to do this. But I'm telling you, when you're just a human being and you understand what's going on and you just start, you can just start playing this. This is good. So let's just run through these. All right. So you didn't do this one yet. I just want to, like, they pick up the phone. Cool. I just want a quote. Give me a quote. What do you say to that?
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. That's my job to give you a quote. Now, do you want just any type of quote, or would you like for me to make sure that you're paying the lowest amount monthly?
Boom. All right. Say no more. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right. I'm 73. I'm old. It's too expensive.
I understand. Sounds like you spoke to some other agents before. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have that in my notes here. That's the reason for my call. It looks like they weren't able to give you the discounted rate. So that's my job to go over that with you. Just takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Go ahead and grab a pen
Boom.
for me so I can go over that with you.
Let's go. We back on track. All right. I didn't fill this out.
I understand you don't remember. I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. Do you remember shopping around for life insurance quotes at one point?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're about to close the file here, and I want to make sure you get the discount. Just takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be out your hair. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper. Let's get this resolved for you.
Great. Okay. I already have some insurance. I just want to see what this costs.
I got you. That's my job to go over that with you. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper so I can get you that discounted rate you were looking for.
Hey, you know what? I'm a little sleepy.
I understand. I'm tired too. I'd rather be on the beach right now, but they're about to close your file here, and I just want to make sure you get the best rate here before it goes up. You want to pay a lower rate, right?
Yeah, but I'm a little tired. Can you call me later?
No. I got you. Like I said, they're about to close your file. Just takes 10 to 15 minutes. Let me get this resolved for you so that they don't give you a higher rate later this evening. Make sense?
Okay. Dude, we could go all day. Like, please, you
Yeah.
guys drop some more in here. This is
Yeah, I get clients like, yeah, I want to think about it. Yeah, no, I completely understand. Most people do. My job is just to get you pre-approved today. It takes 1 to 5 days to get a final approval, and then you have 30 days to make any modifications. Is 30 days enough time to think about it? Okay, let's see if we can even get you pre-approved so you have something to think about. Makes sense, Mr. Client?
Banking, not comfortable giving banking.
Oh, no, I completely understand. So this is a statewide process. Now, we're not asking for card information. Bryce, we're asking for the most secure form of payment, which is your routing and account number. Do you remember back in the day when we used to pay for everything with checks? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember those small numbers that were on the bottoms of the check that we used to give out to everyone when we were making those payments? That's your routing and account number. Can't do anything but deposit money into that account. Can't take any money out. So that's why we ask for the most secure form of payment. But we're just setting up your billing today. So go ahead and grab your routing and account number.
Boom.
That
There's
one
new one
always
here.
works. They're like, oh yeah, you're right.
I used to send it out in the mail,
They're
huh?
like, no, but somebody took money out of my account. I'm like, because you probably gave them your card number, right? They say,
Hmm.
yes, okay, I'm not asking for your card number. We're asking for the routing and account number that's at the bottom of the checks that we used to use back in the day to make payments and give it out to everybody. Remember that? Okay. What's your routing and account number? And guys, if they hang up on you, that's not your client. That just saved you from a big chargeback.
Yeah.
They're not that serious.
I have some through my job.
I understand. Do you understand how job insurance works?
No.
Okay. It's like a company car, right? It's great when you're driving, when you're working, but if you leave the job or if the job leaves you, you no longer have it. Wouldn't you want to make sure you have the best rate possible that you own on yourself, that you can take anywhere you want with you, regardless of whether you have your job or not?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't have this plan, right, are you open to paying higher premiums later if you decide not to keep your job or if your job leaves you?
Right. Locked in.
Yeah.
I can't wait
Here
to
we
watch
go.
these
I
back.
can't afford. Oh, you got it, dude. What were you gonna say?
No, you're good. I was just saying I can't wait to watch these back, dude. You got it.
Here we go. Hey, Kylie, hop on here real quick. I want you to ask this question. You've been doing your thing. All right.
Um, so I just said,
Whoever asked that question again, they don't. Our clients don't do that. Like this is the second time. So Neza, our clients don't say they're rich. They can handle everything. Okay. They never say that. I've been doing this 14 years. The people who fill out my forms don't do that. Okay.
Mm.
So that's not. This is not. This we don't do that. So Kylie, ask your question.
so I said
And
I
how are they
can't.
getting it? You have a situation specific one?
Yeah, actually, before we hopped on a call, they're saying they can't afford their premium, and I'm like, okay, well, we can lower it down to something that you can afford, no brainer. And then they're still like, well, we'll call me back in 6 months. So
Okay.
that type of ordeal.
I got you. Did you already give them the quote?
Yeah,
How much was it?
it was for $10,000. It was a wife and a husband.
For how much per month?
84 for the husband, and then 101 for the wife.
Okay. Did they not have any prior insurance or was it something additional?
The husband didn't have any insurance, and then the wife, hers, she had a term policy that was about to expire.
Okay. Got it. All right. So I would say, let me pretend. Am I saying it right? Kaylee?
Kylie.
Kylie, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. All right. So, Kylie, no problem. I know that $84 sounds like a lot to you right now. Let's go ahead and lower it down a little bit to what does fit within your budget and what you can afford so we can make sure your loved one is not going to struggle when you're not here. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Wouldn't you agree that something is better than nothing? Would you also agree 6 months from now we're not promised to be here?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you didn't have this plan 6 months from now and something happened and you never had this, what would that look like for you and your family?
It would be a bad situation.
Okay. We don't want that, right?
No.
We also don't want to we don't want this to increase on you either if you wait too long. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's get this done now. Let's lower it to what your budget is. And then I'm your broker for life. So if you want to add more coverage later, we can always up the coverage and add more coverage later. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And sometimes too, clients will say, "Oh, before you even give the price, I can't afford it." No problem. I didn't give you any prices. We only want to do something if it's going to make sense for your family, Dom. And if it does, we can talk about the next steps. But if it doesn't make sense for your family, we never have to talk about this again. Is that fair? All right, perfect.
Like
And
Kylie,
then
were you?
go
Did
ahead.
you? How did you handle it when she said I can't afford it? What'd you say?
So this was actually like I talked to them on Wednesday. They was like, we
Okay.
need to think about it. I'll call us back. So I called them back yesterday. Then I need to look through my bank and sort some things out. And I was like handling the objections and stuff like that. I was like, I asked them, I said, do you have anything to access life insurance if, if your wife, if you die is your wife gonna be able to afford that? He was like, no, but let me just check my bank account and move some money around and just give us a call back tomorrow. So then I called him today, and then like, well, we thought about it. We just can't afford it. So it's just like,
Yeah. I mean, if you can't afford it now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're not going to be able to afford it later. Is that fair to say?
yeah,
And see, what I do in a situation to not get that, the questions that I ask up front, the financial questions, I'm like, hey, how much are you saving every month? Because see, if they ever tell me they can't afford it, but they're saving $200 to $300 a month, you're lying to me.
which they were. Like I didn't think it was because at first we started off with 10 for each person, and it was lower. Then yesterday he was like, well, let's look at $12,000. And so I'm like, okay, well maybe he wants to do $12,000. And then today now it's, oh, I can't afford we can't afford it.
Okay. Did you ever go back to when they told you how much they were saving and what changed? Is that an accurate amount, or are you not saving any money at all?
I didn't question them when they said that.
Yeah, listen, don't be afraid to be assertive, right? And say, listen, let me take a step back. Let's take price off the table. Always say this, let's take price off the table. Let's take a step back. Let's go back to what I asked you. You said you were saving $200 a month, right? If you need this life insurance, wouldn't it make sense to take a portion of what you're saving per month to allocate it towards life insurance? Now, I want you guys to remember, people, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I'm not saying you didn't care about them in that situation, right? But people don't buy insurance, people buy you. And anytime somebody has not bought from me, I've always did a self-evaluation. I'm like, what questions did I ask? And how could I have asked better questions? What could I have done? Now, obviously, you can't do anything if they hang up on you, right? But if you got off the phone and they didn't hang up on you, we missed a step. We didn't we didn't hit a hard enough emotional question, right? We didn't maybe backtrack to a question that we asked where we knew they could afford it, but they just told us a lie. Again, buyers are liars, right? So we got to make sure we catch them in that lie. Like, hey, wait a minute. You said you were saving $200 a month. Mr. and Mrs. Client, what changed? Now we can lower this for you, not a problem. We can always bring it up later. But when you say you can't afford it and you're saving $200 a month, can you tell me how that works? In that moment, if they're serious, they're going to buy or they're going to hang up. You're muted, Dom. Still muted.
I
Yeah.
got you for now. So KJ,
Okay.
how would you said assertive, like how would you articulate that posture that you have to new agents? Because I think like a lot of times I hear new agents on
Yeah.
the phone, it comes across very like the customer's always right. That I feel like that's our like default mode when we're talking with people on the phones. And we gotta learn that assertiveness or that assumptiveness, that doctor-patient relationship, right? It's like I don't know, how would you articulate that? And is that something you ever had to change?
Yeah, I knew I had to change that when I realized that when I was letting clients off the phone, I was doing a disservice when I wasn't asking the right questions, when I wasn't sold out to getting better, when I wasn't, changing my tonality or my posture. If I did not fix that, those families were going to die without
Hmm.
coverage. And that was on me because I didn't do everything I was supposed to do. Now, I lost, so, and let me give you a really quick story. And this is what like adds to all of my motivation on top of everything else that I've been through. I lost like six family members in 1 year. This was like 2 years ago, and my dad was the last one. But when I first came into the business, we had tried to get my dad insurance with the practice company. Keep in mind they only sold terms, so he couldn't get approved. Um, and so my first client was my dad. Me and Kali sat down with my dad, but it wasn't easy He no-showed me 3 times. My own. That's how G my father is. He no-showed me 3 times. And so one day I just showed up and I was like, yo, Kali, he's here. Let's do this. And she was like, all right. And then he kept getting declined. He wasn't like giving out all his information. Anyway, come to find out, we got him approved. It was a 2-year wait plan because at the time we didn't have the carriers that we have now that would cover what he had in his previous health history. But 2 years went by. 4 years later, he passes away. His job lets him go while he's in a hospital bed, and it was a sudden death because he died. He died after having his biopsy. He was supposed to make it through because they said the cancer he had, it was treatable. So I had no idea. I had to wake up at like 12 o'clock in the morning, a call from my aunt, like, hey, run to the hospital. He's in sepsis. So he's on a ventilator, he's on dialysis, he's on everything. And hooked up to a bunch of machines. And I was like, oh my God. And he died like a day later. But my policy was the only one that paid out. He had no will. The wife he was supposed to divorce that he never left was next of kin. She disinvited me from my dad's funeral, me and my mother. I had to have a whole ceremony on my own without my dad. Yeah. So when you don't set your finances up correctly, and no shade to my dad, he's just a man. Like some men just, I tried to have that conversation. I'm like, let's get your stuff in order 2 weeks before his surgery. He was like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, all right. It was already hard enough getting him life insurance. Thank God I did. His policy was the only one that paid out. The only one. But had I not fought and showed up to get him coverage, like where would me and my 2 brothers be right now? They don't know how to do this stuff. They don't have no money. You know what I mean? You have to be in position. What does that look like? This business is going to take you there. This business has put me in a position to take care of my family. It allowed, and the crazy part about it is, because I know real quick we're on a time, I was going through so much heck with the company trying to get the check cut. Paula with American Amicable heard me speaking on stage and heard my story. I had just lost my dad. And I was still working. I was still selling insurance in the hospital and everything. Because what I'm going to do, sit down and be sad? No. We got stuff to do. I love my dad. I'll talk to him when he's not here too. I still talk to him as if he was here. But anyway, she heard my story on stage. She made a quick phone call to American Amicable and she got the check expedited to me. Mm-hmm. Like, how can I not be a part of this amazing company? That's insane. But I was in position. I took the no's for this day, for that time, and every other time. You don't know what that time is going to be for you, but if you stay the course, I promise you, you'll find exactly the reason why you're here.
That's so powerful.
Y'all bringing it out of me today.
You'll find your why. I think you work to it. You know, you work to your purpose. We don't just know it. You said one thing here. We could close out if somebody, and well, Lacey got a question here as well.
That's my girl.
How long did it take you to recognize when you need to overcome the objection or realize, hey, this isn't my client?
Anytime so after the third objection, they're not your client.
Okay.
After the third objection, hey, Lacey, you know what? I think you're an awesome person. I think you're amazing. Just sounds like based on your answers, this is not going to be a good fit between you and I want to leave the door open. So if you change your mind in the future, let me know.
Boom.
Most people don't put the burger down until they have diabetes. Something has to happen in their life for them to call you and say, you know what? My cousin just died. I'm ready.
Got it. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
You said something today that I forgot. And I remember when I was in the home, Sean said, hey, I said, how do you know when the appointment's over? He goes, either you helped them or they tell you to leave their house. Like that was it. And people hear that and go, "What do you mean you were?" No, 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 no. It's the questions you ask that will get you kicked out of their house, or
Hmm.
they're gonna hang up on you on the phone.
I've been kicked out of some houses.
Okay? If you aren't getting hung up on, that's a problem. You're not striking the chord that's gonna help what's the word? The person who waits, you're not gonna get them to speed it up. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get them out of their way. This is an emotional sale. See, everything we said, there's a lot of logical things, right? Well, I remember that was the most frustrating thing when I started, KG, was like, logically, I'd be like, dude, it makes sense. Why didn't they buy the insurance? They don't have it. What I have is better. Like Kylie's one, their term is going to end. They realize they're going to live longer than that. They they should just do it. But if that emotion doesn't come out, and we just assume the emotion, which is where I was at a lot of the times when I started. I just assumed that, like, why wouldn't they feel that way? Of course, it's their kids, it's their house. Obviously, they're thinking this. They're not. You got to ask, and it's uncomfortable. Okay, and you got to practice those. And the beautiful thing, Kylie, I hear with your story with that client is they kept picking up the phone, and when they keep picking up the phone, it lets me know that they're dying for you to strike the chord. Otherwise, they just say, screw this. Make sense? Nope. Boom. We don't want to talk to her again. Makes sense? They keep picking up the phone. They're waiting for you to go, I'm going to stand up for you. Stop doing that. The power in standing up for your client. Let's end with this. I know we're a little bit over, but that fine line, right? You have this fine of like, I'm offending people. Like people hear assertive and they hear offending. Explain to me what we do, because you said something about you're letting the client down if you don't. What do you mean by that?
You said if I'm letting the client, you said I'm letting the
Yeah, you
client
said
down if
earlier,
I,
you said I realize I'm letting the client down if I'm not being assertive and things.
yeah,
How are you letting them down?
yeah,
And you said they're
because
never going to get insurance again. Why do you believe they're not going to get insurance? Like why, or did you believe early that they would call you back and that you would get them insurance? Did you believe that after you didn't sell them, they were never going to get insurance? Like, where did it come from of this feeling of I'm letting them down? Like you're letting them down, not the leads, not the insurance industry isn't for you. Make sense?
hmm
Because there's a lot of other things that can come into your mind that
yeah.
aren't I'm letting the client down. So how
I
did you
think
take that accountability and why?
I think that I was tired of being scared. I was like, me being scared is costing the client to not get the coverage. And it scratch making money. You're gonna making money is a byproduct of doing the right thing, right? Um, but I was tired of playing scared. I'm like, I got to figure out a way where I can ask these questions and figure this thing out so it's comfortable for me, but it's also comfortable for the other person on the other side of the phone. And so I just, again, staying close to the fire and asking questions. Like in that situation, Kaylee, it would have been like, hey, I get that you're saying this is too much right now, right? And I forget what leader said it, but I stole it and I say it all the time. And it's like, would you rather pay 80 bucks a month now, or would you want to later try to have to come up with $10,000 overnight? What weighs the heaviest for you? Which one? And so that makes me feel comfortable because I'm asking a direct question. But if I'm not following a script and I'm just like making statements but the product has living benefits and it can do this and this, they don't care. You know what I mean? And they didn't. And they're just like, okay, so I'll think about it and get back to you. And I'm like, all right, okay. But just like when I wasn't calling from the home when I first started, and they were like, hey, just come back and see me Friday. We're gonna think about it. Come back Friday, no show. Oh yeah, I had to go do something. Come back the third time. Oh, I forgot. They not like had I not got like and the way that I got better was calls like this. I don't want to put a family in a position where they don't have coverage for their family. So I want to get better, right? So that they can be protected. And the only way to do that is reps. How many reps are you doing? How many calls are you making? How many families are you talking to? What are you doing in off season? What are you doing when you're not working? Are you watching videos? When I was in the field, in between appointments, I was watching Dom's videos. I was watching John Wetmore, how to sell to clients mortgage protection under over 60 years old. I was watching Matt Smith. I was watching Frank Euphemia, the best practices of selling mortgage protection. Like I was like, and I didn't even know how to do it. And I messed it up. Like I was just like, I'm gonna do it. If I need help, I'm calling. I'm calling my product specialist. If you're right now like scared as crap and you need help, just follow the script. And when it's time to figure out what company it is, call your product specialist. That's what got me good. And then what you realize, most of these clients have all the same health issues. You start to learn what companies to go with and which ones not to. We only use the top 4 to 5 basic companies, America, Mutual, Omaha, and so forth. You're muted again.
Muted again. Jason, you there?
Okay.
What you got? Close it out.
Yeah, I got something real quick. This probably can help everybody, but this is kind of twofold. So, what do you do to keep yourself motivated? I know that like right now you said you play scared, you got a good why, you watch videos, but when you first started, first couple months, you kind of struggled.
Mhm.
And then how did you keep yourself going at the beginning, and how do you keep yourself going now?
In the beginning, I kept myself motivated because I was broke. If you're broke and you're not motivated, no one can really help you. I needed to change my situation. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was broke and I was like, I gotta do something. I need my bank account to change. And then, so in the beginning, what kept me motivated was being around leaders like you guys that, are making money and are having success, staying plugged into the group chat, getting on the calls, hearing other people's stories and how they didn't start out great either. And that I was, you know what I mean? Like going to conventions, going to the big events. And I would see people that would talk and I'm like, if he could come out of what he did here, my situation is not even that bad. I can get out of this. Like all I got to do is go to work. So in early on and still to this day, it's always been about the meeting. It's always been about live dials. I don't miss it. It's a part of my job. It's a part of my day. It's like not getting on live dials is like waking up and saying, I'm choosing not to brush my teeth and take a shower for today. You're going to be funky and your business is going to be funky. Okay. It's a part of my day. I feel bad when I can't get on live dials. Like I had to go run an errand this morning. I'm like, I got to hurry back up because my team is on and I got to get back on live dials. Like, but today I have people counting on me. I have a team. They're counting on me to be the example. That's all I owe them is an example and opportunity. So on top of my business, on top of the people that I have to pay, on top of my family that I have to help, I can't miss a moment or I can't take care of them. I can't pay my staff and my team will stop believing in me. Because when they stop believing in me, they won't believe in this company. They're not there yet. And I think that's why Dom and a lot of leaders on here go so hard. Like we're showing you what could be as if you only make a decision to show up and go to work, just as you would for someone else. The cool part, there's no cap on your income. Your family gets to keep all the money and you get to change your life, not someone else's.
Love it. Thank you guys
Good, thank
for
you.
asking the question.
Thank you, KG.
KG,
You're
thank you for
welcome.
taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
This has been great. All right, and I look forward to doing this again with you. All right, anything I can help your team with, let us know. And I know you've helped a ton of folks on our team, so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I know they're crazy appreciative too. So let's keep growing this thing. We'll get this recording out and upload it onto YouTube.
Thank you.
And number one, this is the best team ever. Peace out, KG.
Best
Thank you
team.
guys.
Love you guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Love you.
Love you too. Let's crush it.